Now that we know the WIFM or what's in it for those different learning groups, we want to think about how we're going to onboard them to this information. Now, most organizations think about this in terms of courseware or learning paths, some sort of way to drip out this information in a very easy and digestible way to get them started and oriented to this set of information. If you're using a tool like Seismic, you can leverage the learning path or the Seismic learning functions to design courseware that can help guide a user through the flow of this information. Now, this is a rudimentary example for a Salesforce launch, and they'd have these different modules and sections. And for each of those sections, they would typically break it out into a grouping of this particular project. So usually by initiative. And each module would be a breakdown of that. Again, this is a rudimentary example where we're just kind of breaking down why and what this Salesforce launch is all about. And you can see we have either videos or in this case, interactive tutorials for each one. So as they progress through the different modules in this learning path, you'll see each module breaks them into a new version or a new function of that particular piece of software. So the useful part here is really making sure we have some interactivity weaved into this if we're talking about software and technology specifically. We want users to get a feel and flow of these systems. So what you're looking at on the screen here is the Iorad plugin, which is basically the interactive simulations that you can create. So if I'm actually building one of these paths inside of Seismic Learning, I would have these segments, these sections that I'm building. And you'd see through this plugin here that you could actually go and capture or create interactive tutorials. Now, in this rudimentary example, I'm just going to use one I already have off the shelf. And you can see this is an interactive tutorial about Salesforce that I built. And so all I would be doing is just embedding that on the screen for me inside this particular module. So when I roll this out to a learner in this path, they get this particular tutorial at this stage. You'll see it's guiding them with multiple modalities. There's some text overviews here, and it's also interactive. So it's forcing them to actually do the screen. It has a voiceover and some closed captioning here, guiding them to do the actions in real time, really driving home the muscle memory of that flow. So now they have a specific module that they're learning about, and they're being involved in that process, which really gets the active learning muscles going. And as they're progressing through that learning path, they have these modules in this bite-sized micro learning that really helps reinforce these particular processes. Additional benefits here is they're learning in multiple modalities. Again, reading, listening, trying, getting hands-on, and they can move at their own pace. These e-learning courses allow them to go backwards and forwards as they see fit to make sure they really feel comfortable with these particular processes. It's not one 45-minute webinar or video that they're having to do or one live training they're having to sit through. When it comes to technology training, the best sort of orientation and onboarding typically is these bite-sized pieces that they can take each version of this new launch or this new piece of technology, and they can have these individual segments and micro learnings that they can play around with on their own terms and at their own pace. Other benefits of weaving this into a platform like Seismic is you're going to be able to put this throughout the Seismic content management suite as well. So if you wanted to link back to, let's say, a particular knowledge article or a page, or there's some other reference guide in the workspace or engagements that you want to link to, these tutorials and those lessons can be linked very easily to any of these other assets throughout your Seismic, making it really simple to be able to navigate through that experience. And you can even store them in the library so that any learner has a quick reference to any of these particular guides. So let's say in this example, I have an account executive homepage. Maybe I have a series of tools that are going to be available to them, all the tools on the tech stack. And what I want them to do is be able to reference that in real time. So those references could be those individual tutorials for those little micro learnings, or they could be the entire course if I broke it out into a particular segment that way. So having everything in Seismic, whether it's from learning or on these pages, makes things nice and consumable and easy for them to be able to find and reference throughout their journey and throughout their Seismic experience.